when I shifted to Lalor, I started my own business, and most all the land between here and Whittlesea, from Lalor to Whittlesea, was dairy farming, and I was the electrician which kept most of those afloat, because they had old poles and derelict electrical systems, and I had to keep the bloody power on so they can milk the cows. And I can, to this day, I would get calls every day from some farmer to, Doug, we need you. You've got to come and repair the motor. I kept a supply of new motors that I could, at a reasonable amount of time, take a new motor out and put a new motor in and repair their old ones. And that was my business in those days. Later on, my business still expired, still improved. I was in the building industry for builders, and I can tell you, I had 34 builders on my books in the end, and yeah, and all exploding out this way, all the building. So I did quite a bit of that, yeah. So I don't know that there's, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I got established, and yeah. I'm now 85, as you no doubt can tell, but yeah, I'm 85, but in my late 70s, and after the fires, we got burnt out in Hume Vale, and we never re-established in Hume Vale. We shifted into Whittlesea proper. By this time now, we're not rural anymore, we're in the suburbs, we're suburbia, but we did that because I could see a time when, and I'm still lucky to be driving, and I come here so as you can walk where we live now. It's a very nice area, and I can still see kangaroos from my window in Whittlesea. I look out across the flats, and there's quite often kangaroos playing there. That's why we've still got rural in us, we've still got Whittlesea in us, and that's why I love Whittlesea. Or we didn't have, like you got today, a bloody bakers coming around all the time. We had to, and did, in Epping there was a bakery, a general store, a pub. That was about it. No shops, no nothing. And the bakery, this is where I fit in once again. I bloody got involved, I started getting involved in the bakery every night about bloody midnight, because they start work cooking bread for you the next day in the bloody night. And of course the ovens and everything breaks down. They ring Doug, right? I was their maintenance electrician, and there was other electricians, but I was probably the main one in the area. And yeah, so I went up and down the road from Lalor to Epping to the bakery in my pyjamas more times than once, and to keep the bakery going, which is another big. I was building my house in Lalor in 1959, and to try and get established, I had a big electric bulb painted on the side of my car with stars and stripes coming out of it, just to promote me being an electrician. Anyhow, this bloke come up to me one day in Lalor. There was no fences, no roads. He drove up to me and he pointed at this globe on the truck. And I know why he pointed at it, because he couldn't speak English. He was a German chap, and he was a bloody lovely man. But he had a problem, but he turned out to be one of my best mates. He, like me, got married about the same time. He had 3 kids, I had 3 kids, and he was in the building industry, and I was in the building industry. And his mannerism and attitude suited me right down to the ground. His name was Willie Schweich. Willie Schweich was a bloody gentleman, and I first met him, he couldn't speak one word of English. And that was when the migrants started coming to Australia. And I just want to mention that because they'd done so much for Australia in those days, people don't realise. Yeah, I started my electrical business, and it really took off. When I was working, I worked like for the 34 builders, and having 3 kids, and that was hell on earth, in as much as I would work probably 14, 16 hours a day. Because as you can imagine, if you've got 34 builders on the books, they don't need an electrician every day, but you'd have to plan on at least 6, 8 or 10 ringing every day. So I come home from work, trying to have tea with my family, and the bloody phone wouldn't stop. And as well as phone, they didn't have mobile phones those days. Frequently they would call in, and one night there was one bloke in the lounge, another bloke at the door, and another bloke waiting to see me at the front gate. That was my life. Okay, now when I finished tea, and I'd have to had built myself an office. I went down, a lot of paperwork. There's the bills to be paid, and all the stuff and paperwork for the SEC to get places connected to power the next day. But the SEC, the old SEC was bloody wonderful. They treated me, it was brilliant what they did for me. And anyhow, when I finished all that at night, I had to load up the trucks, because I had not big staff, I had limited staff. I had to have the trucks ready to drive out at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I had to do that at night, because the phone would start ringing again in the morning. That was my business, and I did it, I enjoyed it, and I was successful. But I think Whittlesea in itself will be good, because you may or may not know the layout of the septic system is limited in getting the septic system out of Whittlesea, and as it is, the flow of the heights and whatnot. I don't think it will expand to the extent of the likes of South Morang and Mernda and all that. And therefore, what I'm saying is probably not conducive to everybody, but I'll say it wouldn't suit me. So my opinion would be, because, and I think Whittlesea in the future will be much the same as it is now, and won't alter that much, although it is set down for housing as far out as Milky Lane, and that is all set aside for housing here. So, but beyond that, I don't think we'll go far. It'll be nice to live here. Yeah, it'll be good. But you're asking the wrong person, because what suits people is housing and shops and everything. Doesn't suit me, and it doesn't suit my wife. So we just love Whittlesea as it is.